Okay, I'm pretty excited to be here with so many great people. It's really inspiring for me. So, I love to create things. It's what gets me excited. And my background's not actually in making apps. I'm going to talk about apps, but first I'm just quickly going to tell you how I got there. So, my background is actually in making music. I used to make records for a living. I'd write songs, record albums, play in bands, toured all over the world. I was really lucky. And I learned a lot of things along the way. I even learned that you can promote one of your own records into the UK top 40 charts just by using social media. I did that for like $280 with MySpace. So I saw that there's this thing with technology and media that can be interesting and it can make things happen. So I found that really exciting. Now, as well as creating, I also like to analyse things. So when I was a little boy, all I wanted to be was a marine biologist. I love the ocean. And I loved all those things that crawled around in there. And I wanted to understand it. So it took me a long time. But eventually, I became a marine scientist and I worked for the federal government as a marine scientist. And we had this amazing boat, this ship, this research vessel. And we go out for a month at a time. We'd steam offshore, 300 kilometres offshore, and we park up for a month and we go diving every day on this incredible tropical reef. No land, no people, just birds, sea snakes, and us. It's 5 scientists and 20 support crew on this vessel, and we just go diving every day for a month. We come back, we had a chef, it's great, and we just collect data because we wanted to understand tropical reefs and coral communities. And we wanted to understand what happens to a coral community when it gets hit with disturbance, like a cyclone, or bleaching, or overfishing. So we collected all this data and then we go back to the lab and the offices and we'd sit there. Complex, huge data sets, multi-factor stuff. So we did all this like multivariate stats, trying to understand things, quantitative analyses. And it's hard to understand biological communities. So one of the things I was looking at was trying to apply graph theory, like network theory, from another part, like mathematical sort of realm, to biological communities to see if we could understand them that way. And you can do some interesting stuff. But while I was doing that, federal government land, I had this urge again, like I needed to create. It just kept dragging me back. So I actually quit my job doing that to make apps. Now, it's a kind of a weird thing, like how could you go from music to science to apps? But actually, I just put the first two together. So I'm into music, I've always been into music, and there's lots of data. And I got that network theory, that graph theory stuff, and just put it on top of music. So there's this graph thing, right? It's just a map of the world of music. It shows how music is related. So that's where that all came from. So I make apps. I'm into making things. Now, not just making apps, I want to make better apps. And I want to make better apps for people. And not people like designers and developers and biz people and marketing, just for normal people. And it's hard. So I'm going to give you an example of what that means for me. So that is a link that got sent to my mum in her email. And she got it and she freaked out. She didn't know what it was, right? And so she sent me a message. She was like frantic. She sent me this message. Oh my God, I've got a virus on my computer, right? And I need your help. It's my mum, right? Now, it wasn't a virus. It was just a link. It's just a YouTube embed code. But she's just a normal person. She doesn't know that. She can't understand it. And so she found it scary. So what I wanted to talk about today was how we could take something like that and make it better for normal people. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get from that to something that's better. All right, so design talk, right, today, talking about design principles. So first thing we do when you look at that, we're like, oh, well, we should just like make it pretty. We get some nice, like, spend a few days mucking around with typefaces and kerning, leading, and colour palettes and stuff. Be awesome. That'll fix it. So there we go. Beautiful, right? But like, what is that? My mum doesn't care about that either, right? So bad, right? That doesn't help at all. So design's not about just making things pretty. There's more to it than that. We've got to do better than that, all of us. So what can we do with that to make it better? There's a thing that we can use that will help us. Design principles. Now, this is sort of like, what are these things, design principles? Well, I don't know. I just make them up myself. I see a problem, I go, oh, maybe there's a solution for that. But it's like a framework, a system, a way to attack a problem with some foundation, a better way to do it. So I have all these principles that I've made up, like make it simple, make it friendly, make it clear, make it obvious and safe and familiar. Make it about the content, make it about context, and make it for people. They're my design principles, and that's what I use when I think about problems. You apply those to simple problems or hard problems, and it can really help. So I want to make it better. Okay, so let's go through now. I'm going to use a couple of different principles that we can use, and we'll try and attack that link. So make it friendly, that's one of my favourites. So how can we make that link friendlier? Well, there's all kinds of stuff in there, right? There's actually great content in there if you know where to look, but there's all this noise and stuff too. So let's try and strip out some of the junk. Get rid of that embed source at the end, that's a bit better. Get rid of that object at the start, okay, cool. Let's just keep chopping out stuff that doesn't really matter. So now we get into like this YouTube URL with a big kind of like, still got numbers and letters and stuff at the end, but it's better. Let's just keep going. So there we go. We end up with something like that. It's getting a little bit better. So we get to that. We've got this YouTube URL now. It's a little bit friendlier. Let's just keep going. So let's try another principle. Stack another one on top. Let's make it simple. Maybe we can make that a bit simpler. So we've got this. Let's chop some more stuff off. Let's get rid of that big string thing at the end. Get rid of it. And maybe HTTPs, right? Who cares about that? Like machines do, but my mum doesn't care about HTTP. She doesn't even know what it is. www, let's lose it, right? So there we've got this YouTube thing, right? That's better. Now, what else could we do to take that URL, which is still just like numbers to my mum? What could we do? Let's try and make it for a person, a human, like for people. So let's take that. That's a YouTube video, which means, like, well, if we dig a bit deeper, that video's got a title. Maybe we could show that. So that's the title of that URL that my mum got sent. Tame Impala, playing a cover on Triple J. It's pretty cool. Didn't even know what that was before. But it's still pretty noisy. There's all this stuff like hash, at, and brackets and stuff. So let's try and make that a bit clearer. Okay, let's start stripping out some stuff. Get rid of some punctuation, brackets. What's this at thing? Like my mum doesn't know what an at thing is. Like the at, it's a mention to all of us. We know what that means. It means like a person, an entity or something, but my mum doesn't know. So like Outcast is a band. Let's just call it what they are. They're a band, Outcast. Prototype's the name of the song. Let's do that too. So we're starting to unravel what was in that original text and make it a little bit friendlier. Just keep stripping stuff out, like get rid of that hashtag, that's confusing to my mum. And like the date, we could probably do that better. So there we go. That's a bit better. Tame Impala. That's what we came from that original URL. So let's just recap a bit, because that's what she got sent. So it's hard to understand that. And that's what we're at now. But we can do better. We can do much better than that. Because if we just try another one, another principle, like make it for the content, make it about the content. This is a video. So That's a visual thing. Maybe there's like a pic of like a thumbnail we could grab. So we've got this title. Show a little pic. There it is. Some guy with hair playing guitar. It's pretty cool. It's still kind of hard to see. So make it big. So there we go. So this is a video now. It looks a bit more like something real. And we can even do better. We can make that talk to the person on the other end. So let's take that. It's just a square picture at the moment, but really it should be a video. So just use like aspect ratio, make it the right shape. That's better. And we can keep going. We'll just clean things up a bit. So starting to look like something there. It's kind of interesting, but we can keep going with more. We can make that a lot more helpful. Now imagine if we could tell a bit of a story about where it came from and when and how and what and where. So this is Tame Impala. They're a band, and they've probably got a pic. So let's show the avatar. And in fact, show their name. And so now we know who it came from, what it is. First they posted a link, but actually it's a video. And they posted this video on YouTube. So that's pretty cool. Tame Impala posted a video on YouTube. But like when? Well, they posted it earlier today. So Tame Impala posted a video on YouTube earlier today. That's pretty cool. Now, what we're missing is some context. So like, what is this thing? Like, it's starting to look interesting. So if we give it some context, let's make it an app. Give it a status bar and a menu, hamburger. Cool. Okay. Let's keep going. Give it some buttons like a source icon, YouTube. You can interact with it, you could like it or share it, take some action on it. That's cool. Still a video though, and it looks kind of static. We could probably do better than that. We can make that play. So, static picture, maybe that's better. Makes me want to tap it. Now I know it's like a video that I could do something with. I could interact with it. Pretty good. So, what if we could make that personal? You know, this is for my mum, remember? She got sent this link, this thing. So, like, we could send a message to my mum in part of this. Had this, what about, hey mum, check this out. So there we go. That's, there's a lot of information there that came from the original link, but it was never exposed in the right way for a normal person. Good for machines, but not so good for people. So I like trying to make things that are good for people. Now that's kind of cool. So we could actually make that real. Take that little story, that screenshot, it's just like a screenshot now. Stick it on a phone. It's kind of cool. Now it looks like something you could pick up. Maybe you could interact with that. You could do stuff with it. Like it looks like it wants to be played with. So let's recap again. That's what my mum got sent. That's the virus that she got sent. And that's what we're at now. It's better. So this is design. Design is about communicating with people, about helping them do things better. Taking something that's hard or complicated and making it easy for them to use or consume or digest. All right, so we've done a fair bit. There's one thing that's really great to do lots and lots, and it's to make it again. So every time you make something, you learn something. Every time you make something, you break something and you fail and it doesn't work, but you learn something. So if you make it again and again and again, it's how you get to make things that are better for people. You just keep making it. So making it again, that's how we learn. That's how we get better. That's how we can make things that are better for people. So that's it for me today about principles, but I'd love actually after if anyone wants to come up and talk about how they solve problems and how they try and do stuff, because I'm fascinated by this process of making complicated things better for people. So I love to hear and talk to people about that. So thank you. Now, I have a heap of principles, and I wrote them all up, and there's examples and stuff. So I've put them on. It's on the website. I've got a website for it. So you can note down the link, and you can just go and grab all that stuff and check it out. So there's the link for my site, and go to town with that. Now, that could probably be better, right? So I did actually do some work on that and improve it. So there we go. So actually, go to the website, I'll put the slides up and the principles, and maybe there's something there that can help you too. davidmckinney.com. Thank you.